You're listening to Bellwethers podcast with Matthews Joseph.
Hey guys, thank you so much for listening to the Bellwethers podcast. This is Matthews Joseph, your host. Today we have someone very special with us, Dalbut Pelfrey Williams. Dalbut is one of my very good friends, and we've been knowing each other for the last 2 to 3 years. We studied in the same college, and he is a visionary. That's the first thing that I can tell about Dalbut. He is also a super nerd guy, a super geek guy who actually knows how to do his way and deal his way through audio and visual systems. So we have Dalbut Pelfrey Williams, CEO of Pelfrey Media Studios, right now with us. Dalbut, welcome to Bellwethers podcast.
Thank you, Matthew. You had said so many great things about me.
I was being modest. I mean, that was the least I could tell about you. So, I mean, there is a lot more to Dalbut than those words. I mean, his vision and the things that he actually has been doing in the past days, which actually has been so huge. And, you know, I'm actually, you know, I actually look up to him because in things that he does, it is actually so great how he does things, how he deals with clients. Even though we had this conversation, I believe that this conversation is going to enlighten a lot of people who are going to listen to this.
Yes, I believe that too. Surely, somehow our conversation will be helpful to so many people. It can be the end client or anyone working in the same industry as us, like audio, video, or web designing, or any graphic design. It will definitely help us. I believe that.
Definitely. So, Dalbut, can you tell the audience about what Pelfrey Media Studios is about and what you guys actually do?
Yeah, sure, Matthew. So, Pelfrey Media Company is like a big company that I vision so that it deals in audio and video, especially in live streaming for churches, for studios. We also do consultancy for different studios now, different churches now. We do consultancy work for churches in the fields of audio setup and live streaming especially. I had so many churches come to me asking for how to set up a simple live stream rig for the churches. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic and everything, we are forced to move into the live streaming setup for the churches also. Till now, it was in the upper limit of churches. The very big mega churches had their own live streaming or their recording setup or their production setup. But as of now, even the smallest churches, as any small church, even with the 50 people in the congregation, are forced to have any kind of a live stream setup. So I'm helping people in that. I'm helping studios with setting up their acoustical environment, with their video studio, with their preview theaters and all. So I'm doing that. On the other side, we are also doing web designing and search engine optimization for very select clients. So that is what Pelfrey Media does. It's actually a part of our ministry, which is Paul's Gospel Mission. It's a ministry for spreading the gospel of Jesus Christ in India. So it's actually a small part of the ministry. My dad leads the ministry, and we are doing the media work for the ministry. And in its side, we are also working for others. So that is something that we do.
That's awesome. I mean, I think Pelfrey Media Studios is actually one company that actually boomed during the pandemic. I mean, I guess you had a big raise in clients all of a sudden because of the pandemic, right?
Yeah, I did.
All right, yeah, I'm just kidding,
No,
but you know,
started like a while back. I started this company last August. So I had this idea. I actually wanted to start my company even before I finished our studies in college. So I wanted to do that, but I still kept my options open. I applied for different colleges. I applied for jobs, but I had something that said in my heart, no, this is not you. I sat in a whole interview, and still my heart said, no, this is not your job. You cannot do this in an office. So at the last moment, I said, no, I'm not going to do this. Same way, I went for the college interview. I actually scored a really good mark all over Tamil Nadu in that examination. I went for that college admission, but still my heart said, no, this is not something that you want to do now. So I thought about it. We prayed. My dad prayed. Me and my sister went for the college admission. So we prayed over there. And my God put that thought in my heart that, no, this is something that you want to do. You want to help other people. Even when I was studying in my college, I used to help people. Students with arrears, they used to come to me the day before exam. I should teach them those things. All my friends, we all sit together and study. so that I had a heart of helping people. So God said that you should help churches at first. So that's how I started. We came back, we had a church in our neighborhood. They wanted to set up a small rate, even starting with just their phone. So I helped with them. Then I moved on to another church with their audio issues. So that is how Pelfrey Media started. And as you said, this pandemic actually boosted that recognition. I had built up so many relationships with many churches, my dad with many studios, many TV setups and studio owners and all. So we started that way. So we went over that way, and this pandemic has kind of boosted that relationship with other people and started delivering the services to them. So that is it.
That's awesome. I mean, I think I think one of the major reasons, I maybe a few years back, while I was in college, I had this idea, maybe I once I get done with college, I should find a good job and then settle, and I just go forward with my life. That's what I wanted. I never wanted to be a businessman or be an entrepreneur. I was like, no, I'm not going to do that. That was like my very last day. That's like, if I have no other way, that's like my really last backup plan. But right now, here we are. I start an organization. We are having a podcast. I mean, I'm so happy how things turned around. We are having this conversation.
Yeah, right, I'm so happy for you too, bro.
Thank you so much, Dalbut. No, I think one of the reasons, one of the things that you were speaking about, you were telling about, even though when you went for the college admission, you knew that this was not something that you wanted to do. There was something that God had planned for you. And I believe that I was recently, I was listening to a couple of podcasts by John Maxwell the other day, and he was telling this one particular thing. There are two things that you can do. And the one thing is the things that you can do, what you can do out of the resources and everything that you have. And the second thing is the things that you're created to do. And I think we need to find to do the second thing. What are we created to do? I mean, that's a major question that people are asking. What am I created to do? And that is
exactly. What is my purpose?
Exactly. I mean, most people have this question: what is my purpose? What is my plan? Where do I want to be? And what is my vision? And that's a major question that people, especially people in our youth, I mean, me and your age, who actually have this question. And they still haven't found the answer because they're not looking at the right place, because they're looking at the things that what they can do, but they're not looking at the things that they are created to do. And I think we need to find the things that you're created to do. And that's how actually you can unveil the plan and the purpose for your life. So, and we're going to move on, but I want to ask you this. So we had this conversation a couple of weeks back, and I asked you about your website, and you were telling me that you are rebuilding your website because you actually had a different vision. So how much do you think a website projects the vision of an organization?
I'd say the website is your the first point of any customer journey into the relationship of a company or an institution. So I say the website is something that should be pinpointedly projecting the vision of the company to the customer. Once the customer or the client looks at the website, they should actually know these are the things this company is providing, not just the services, but their vision. How do they want the general public or the client or any potential client to move on with their own values? So the vision of the company, there are many ways to showcase the vision, and a website is very important of those.
So it's more like a brand identity, right?
Yeah, exactly. The brand identity. It's not just a logo. It's not just a name. It's not just a tagline. It's just how you are, how the brand is. Imagine the brand as a person. I read this book in which there is an exercise to imagine your company as a person. Who will? So yeah, I recently read a book about building a company. So they said, imagine your company as a person. So imagine how will they look, how will they talk, how will they behave, how will they interact with the person. So that is what your company is. And how they think, what do they want from their heart is their vision. So your company's vision is something that is projected out to all your clients. So imagine a company that wants to move the production value of their clients, of their studio, the clients who can be studios or churches. Imagine an institution who wants to build up the youth of their the recent people, the current generation. Imagine imagine an institution who wants to push people forward from what they are. So those are the visions of those companies. And I'd say a website showcases that vision very clearly. So just as I said, I told you I was building my website. I had everything ready until the point of hosting it. I was ready to buy the host. My parents gave me the money to host it. But at the last moment, I saw over the last few months of developing it, my vision had changed. At first, I started out as web designer, just as web designer and SEO analyst and optimizer. But during those time, I actually did some research on my own thing on what do I want to do. I dug deep into my own vision. I saw what is exactly that I want to do, how is exactly how I want to help people. So I found out that my vision is to help churches and studios. I want to increase their production values. So a website development and SEO is not the only thing. A website development and SEO is not just the thing that a church or a studio needs. I mean, you can get a website from anyone, but that's not necessarily how you can enhance their production value, which is my vision. My vision is to promote and enhance the production value of a church or a studio. So I found out that what I had done, though it may be like 3-4 months of work, okay, it's not my vision. So I need to change it. I started changing my website. It's almost halfway done. Once it's done, I upload it. So a website is something that needs to promote and project your vision.
Oh, exactly. That's huge because you just you work for 3-4 months for that website, and then you will realize that your vision changed. And I don't think most people would be like, just like, I'm gonna put this up, and 4 months of hard work is gonna waste. But if you thought differently, I mean, you thought that your vision needs, I mean, it's just a projection of your vision. And I think that I think all websites are, I mean, I think people need to believe that, because people that just
Yes,
like
exactly.
one just an online presence, but there's a lot more to the website, or your brand logo, or it's more like your identity, and your logo and your website are like the first thing any person from the outside world comes and sees. And it is actually very, very important to have it in the best way possible. So, I mean, that was with Dalbut on how website enhances the projection of your vision. Moving on.
Yes.
So different clients have different requirements, right? So even all the while, wherever you work with, I mean, most of your different have clients, like some may be big clients, and some may be small time or beginner clients. So how do you make sure that they receive the best services?
That's a really good question. Some maybe big client, they'll be willing to spend more. The smaller clients, they may not willingly to spend more, both in time and in money. But their own expectations are different. Some may just want a simple web presence. Some may want increased sales. But you need to actually understand the deep inner things. These are the requests they actually say. I want a website. I want increased sales. I want my brand to be.
Okay, so moving on to our next question. Different clients have different requirements. So some may be big clients, and some may be small time clients or startups or beginners. So how do you make sure that they receive the best services that you provide?
Yeah, that's a really good question, actually. A big client will have enough money and time to spend on their request. And similarly, a small client may not have enough money or time to spend on what are they're asking for. I had clients who come to ask me, I need increased sales, I need a brand presence, I need just a website. So these are the things that they actually say to you. These are the things that they feel that they think that they want a website or increased sales. But actually, you need to look deep into what problem they're actually facing. So I ask them, what exactly is your problem? But sometimes that question doesn't actually work. They just repeat that I need a website. but you need to do the research on your part. You need to find out what exactly is their need. Sometimes um, I had a client recently who asked for a website for a wedding. So
Oh, wow.
his main thing was he couldn't. The actual underlying reason for the need for a website was the pandemic has forced us to stop in our ways. We cannot go out to invite people in their own home. We cannot rent out a venue to host a wedding. So that was his problem. He wanted to share the happiness of his sister's wedding, but that couldn't happen due to the pandemic. He couldn't go out to people. But so I found out that you can solve this problem through a website. But still, I told him all the other ways that he can solve the problem through. He can just have a YouTube live and send the link of the event. He can just send out the invitations in WhatsApp. So those are the things I explained to him, that the ways that you can solve this problem are these things. But if you the website is something that which can help people bring in come into one single place, right? You cannot be sending out two different links for everyone. You cannot be sending out a link for your video, then another invitation and everything and so on and so on. But you can just send a website as a link, so people can come in, they can see if the people who are living by close by, they can see the
Like a
venue, the
package deal.
timings and everything. Yeah,
Like a package deal.
there are so many things actually. So I had hmm? Excuse me,
No, no worries. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Matthew.
Yep. Hello.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
Go ahead.
I understood the problem of that specific client. Yeah, I understood the problem of that specific client that moment, that he needs to share his happiness and he thinks he can just use a website to overcome those problems that he is facing. So that is the thing that you can do. A big client or small client, they have something at their inmost. They have their emotional needs. You need to talk to those emotional needs. You need to find those things. And once you find out a solution that will help to clear their emotional needs as well, what they're asking, what they're requesting for you, that will actually help you promote your own business too. That will actually help you solve their problem. And people at the very base, they are not looking for a service, they are looking for a solution. So that is what I think. Big company or small company, big client or small client, you can have a client that has turnovers in millions, and you can have a client that maybe just starting out, but their underlying thing is they need a solution for that specific problem. So start selling solutions, not services. So that is how you can meet all clients.
Oh, that's really great. I think what more like when I understand what you just said. I think you need to understand the heartbeat of the client. What they want.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
what is that you need to provide to them, and you need to study them. And it's not like you just go ahead. So somebody comes for you for a website and you just build it up. You need to ask them some certain questions. Okay, what is your limit? What is your budget? And what do you want to distribute in this? And how many tabs you need? How many what content do you want to what do you want to produce in this? I think there is like a lot of questions like these that you need to ask, and get to know what the client wants, the heartbeat of the client. I don't think it's just like just for the website. I mean, for anything. I mean, even if it's starting a studio, or
Yeah,
doing a song, or recording a song, or doing a mixing or mastering, or any AV related, or almost everything that you do for a client. I think you need to more
yeah,
understand the heartbeat and what they want, what their vision of it is, and what they want, or what do they want, where do they see the product come up in the next 5 years. I mean, you need to ask all these questions and understand what exactly that they want, and only then can you move ahead and go ahead and do something like that. Otherwise,
yeah,
otherwise you're just doing otherwise you're doing it normally, like you're just providing a service. But
yes,
I mean, it is different. I mean, you need to give them a solution. And I think that's what the one thing that the world really needs right now. And we all need solutions. I mean, to day-to-day problems. I mean, when there was a problem with commutation, Henry Ford found the car. And then that car was not possible for long drives. And so they started adapting, they started upgrading. And that's how we
mm,
have Ford trucks, we have Ford cars, for mini SUVs, SUVs.
yes,
Everything has come up because one man saw the vision. So how that car
yes,
could prove the way to have a commutative method for the world in the next 100 years. and that
Yes, exactly.
that he found that the vision of his organization was a solution, and he knew that both actually was the same, and that's how he actually he could actually, that's how Ford actually become a multi-million dollar brand, a multi-billion dollar brand, which spans across
Yes,
almost
exactly.
every other nation in this world. So that is how a vision actually, a vision actually advances. And I think the other day when Bonnie Andrews was here, he was also saying the same thing. He had this
Mm.
vision that to affect 25 million youth by the year 2030, but
Yeah.
he's saying like he's going to rewrite that soon because he believes that they can achieve more than that. That is actually
Yeah,
how you
exactly.
advance your vision. And that's what I love about Dalbut. What Dalbut was saying at the beginning, he envisioned his company becoming a big company in the future. I mean, maybe 5 years from now, maybe 10 years from now, it might be even 20 years from now, but he actually sees the product right now, and he
Yeah.
sees that what his company would be in 20 years, and that is exactly what we need. And most businessmen, we need a mission. We need a real vision. We need a real vision. We need to write down our vision. I mean, I write down my vision right when I was starting in April to 2020, when I was starting Bellwethers, and when I was writing before when that went on to the podcast. So in April 2020, I wrote that in the next 1 year, I need to start a podcast, and that was my aim.
Mm.
And in like 6 to 7 months, I did start a podcast. I mean, that is the fulfilling of the vision. And it doesn't end there. There's like we have a lot of things lined up with our team. So I was talking to them the other day, and we had a lot of these things. We have set up all these things. This is what we need. And that is how you advance your vision. And the people who are with you, when you place yourself with the right people, and they help you advance your vision. And in case of Dalbert, I mean,
Yeah.
his family is supporting him, his father and his mother and his sister. They're like, go ahead and do it. I mean, we need people like that. We need people who inspire and motivate us to do the impossible. And that's how you
Yes.
actually you fulfill your vision. So, I mean, that was the
Yes.
story of Dalbut. Dalbut just told us how the big client, how to understand the heartbeat of different clients through understanding their vision. So, moving on, Dalbut, I think this is one of the main questions that most people the next question that I'm going to ask you. I think this is one of the
Yeah.
main problems that is actually associated with the audio and media or AV industry, especially. And most people, and I think most people like you, and I think even I think that this is very much true. So don't you think that the audio and video industry is underrated?
Yes, I do. Actually, I think about that quite a lot. I see the TV channels. I see so many studios who are actually very much underrated in the minds of public, very public, and even their potential clients. I've seen those things that happen. People don't actually understand the amount of work that goes into media industry in any simple thing. Consider an audio recording, maybe a video shoot, or even something like this podcast. People sometimes, I guess, they don't understand how much effort um, goes into making those things. See, consider following examples. We make a small 2 minute devotion every day. It's just 2 minutes, just a short story with a little explanation from the Bible at the end. So it goes on for just 2 minutes, and it takes around 30 minutes to record, to mix with along with a small instrumental behind, and to export and to send it, to prepare a matching image for it. And it takes about a day to get the story ready. So that much of work actually goes into just 2 minutes of recording that you finally has to listen. Similarly, we see video from BBC, from Discovery all the time in our phones, and if we see beautiful pictures of animals in Instagram, but there are so much of things that has to go behind it. And I think one reason might be people, the general public, they don't get to see the behind the scenes of these massive productions. So I guess that might be one reason. So I learned recently that the clients who actually see the amount of work you put in for even a simple report, they actually tend to value you more than what you would think you for yourself for. I had a client who asked me to prepare a report for his theater, a preview theater in his studio. So I had spent around maybe 2 weeks for his work, researching all possible acoustical elements and all speakers and projectors, screens, and everything. So when I finished the report and sent him an invoice for just 2 days of work, he was very much astonished actually. He understood the amount of work that had went in through seeing all the things that I had typed in, all the images that I had collected. It was around a 30-page report. So he understood what goes into all those things. So he was willing to pay more for that thing. I had a similar client who asked a consultation report for starting out a TV channel actually. And I had worked for like 2 days and sent him an invoice for just one. And he wanted to pay me just 500 rupees for it. Like that is, I guess, I understand that he didn't know that amount of work that actually goes into that preparation of report. That was 2 days of work, but it was maybe 10 years of learning behind that. We had a TV channel back in 2008-9. So right from that, all your experiences, everything that you study from those childhood days, and after that, I had my media course in college. That and this 1 year of working with so many clients. Those are the things that actually go into 1 day of typing it into a report. So people tend to underrate and underestimate the media industry because they don't know everything that goes into it. I had clients who asked to record a song for just 3,000 rupees. That is because they actually do not know how many number of takes that we had to do just for the vocals. Then comes the instruments, then maybe redubs, all the ad libs, and then we need to mix, then master, all those things. Imagine you just for starting out, you need to invest lakhs and lakhs for the equipment, for the acoustic treatment and everything. So the main reason I say that people think both audio production and video production industry is underrated, they do not know what goes behind the scenes.
That's definitely true. I mean, I think that the AV industry is more like a final product based industry. So you only see the photograph, or you only see the video that comes out of it, or you only see the song that you play on Spotify that comes out of it, or even in the case of this podcast, you only hear the podcast. I mean, they don't see the back end part. I mean, there's a lot of work that is associated with the AV industry. I mean, even for taking for what you were just saying about making a song. So first you actually had to tune the song, and you had to write the lyrics, and you had to give the tuning, and then you had to create the tracks for each instrument, for a keyboard, for a drums, for a bass guitars, electric guitars, and everything. So you need to create a track, and then you need to go to a studio and you need to do the entire thing with multiple takes, the whole song. So most people think like a 5-minute song can be done in an hour, but I don't mostly think like that, because I think it takes maybe a couple of days too. And then you actually do it over and over and again, and then you get the final, the one that is pleasing to you, and then you actually mix it, then you master it, and then lies the video shoot time, and then you had to go and do the video shoot and take the stills. And sometimes we need to take, I mean, some people use helicams and drones for these, and some people use just like a DSLR stand with a gimbal. So, and people do this over and over again, and after they do it, it takes a lot of time for this process to take place. And after that,
Exactly. Speaking of process and drones, I had a good friend in my college. He bought a drone. He just started learning how to fly. He bashed into walls so many times, almost broke it. Then he threw it away, got another drone. He learned really amazing stuff to do from his drone. Then he switched on to a DJI drone later. Then after that, he started working. He started working in industries, in cinema industry. He went out for shoots in so many weddings and all. One day he sat with me and he explained how he prices his expertise. He's not just pricing it for his time. Like people may ask just for 1 day, he might need to just cover it for just 3 hours of a wedding event. But all those things, his repeated attempts, those failures, those things that shaped him, all his experiments, that's what he's actually charging for.
Wow. Yeah.
People actually don't know. So once they hear the price, maybe he says that 10,000 rupees for maybe just a day. They would say, why do you charge 10,000 rupees?
I mean, yes, that is very much true. I mean, I'm reminded of this particular story of Picasso that I heard from a friend of mine. So he was telling me, Picasso was a lady comes to Picasso and asks Picasso, can you can you draw my picture in 30 seconds? And Picasso was like, yes, I can do. And in 30 seconds, I think it might be 30 minutes, maybe. I'm not exactly sure. But, Picasso draws that picture in that particular amount of time. And after Picasso draws a picture, Picasso hands over her picture to her, and she sees that she's about to walk away. And Picasso asks, "Ma'am, my $30 million, please." So so that lady was like, why do I need to pay you $30 million for this picture? I mean, he was like, it might be just like 30 minutes or 30 seconds for you, but that was 30 years for me to prepare to do this picture. And
Exactly.
and practice makes a man perfect, and that is very much true. And the more you practice, the more you use the resources that you have over and over again, that's when you actually get to know your potential. And I think one of the when you try your extent, when you try your fullest potential, that's when you unleash who you are, and that's when you actually unleash your purpose. And potential is one of the major things that actually helps you uncover your purpose for your life. And this is the same thing. I mean, because Picasso was able to draw that picture in that 30 minutes or 30 seconds, but that lady was only seeing the final product. I mean, the time that the 30
Yes.
years that he took, I mean, just like you said, the friend who was working on the drone, I mean, it might have crashed multiple times, but still the end product, I mean, you have to actually go through all these things. You had to try it again and again. And I think failure is never an option for us. And most people, I mean, I actually tell this all the time. Failure is not a negative thing. It's actually a positive thing. And you actually see that as the next opportunity to see something else through. So I'm reminded, but a few months back, I mean, I think I asked you also about this. I was doing something called an Instagram live thing called Bellwethers show. So we actually had
Yeah.
we're actually, I mean, we were planning to feature you as well. And so we are actually having all these things and all going on. So I did a couple of people, and the responses were very nice. People were seeing, but I was not content with that. I mean, I was like, this is not what I need to do. I mean, this is something that I
Yes.
can do, but I understood that this is not something that I'm created to do. So I
Yes.
was like, I was looking into it, I was digging in. So I understood that this is nothing that I can do. So I need to advance this. I mean, this is something that actually can be that's a live show, and only certain people can access at certain time, and that it might pop up in your feed or not, but your reach is very much limited. And that's when I started. I
Yes.
was thinking, what if I actually start a podcast, and then from that I can develop it into a video podcast and things like that. So that was my basic idea on starting the podcast. And I was like, I was working on this, I was thinking about this, and I was working around it. And to my surprise, I mean, I actually knew this one thing, that while doing the Bellwethers show, it was just me. So I didn't actually work with a team. So even though I was capable of handling a team, I actually thought I could do this by myself. But that's when I actually understood from my particular mistake that it is not just me. I mean, you need a team to sustain and to thrive. And when you have a team, that's when I actually understood from my mistake. So when I was starting the podcast about a month and a half back, so I started approaching different people who I thought would be able to implement this, and who would be able to give inputs to this. And we actually gathered a team of 5 people around us, and that's how we are working. So we have audio people who work on the audio engineering part, some people who actually do the content creation part, some people who actually are working on developing the video, the podcast, to do it on YouTube in the future. So we
Yeah.
actually had this 5 people set. I mean, I actually advanced. So it was just like you said, the friend that actually broke the drone. I mean, that did not stop him. I mean, that one failure, that one inability to do the things that what he wanted to do, did not stop him from doing something, trying something new again. And that's how, I mean, even though he charges 10,000 rupees for one particular shoot, or the amount that anybody puts in, but I believe that that amount is an apt remuneration for the hard work that that person has been putting into it for all these years. And we only see a glimpse of the final product, but there is a long journey to that every person can see. And I believe that's a story for
Yes.
most of us as well, because even though, I mean, you started a studio, but you actually had to learn these things. I mean, how to deal with cables, how to do with the production
Yes.
facility, how to design a particular studio, how to assign proper tracks, how to do things differently. I mean, you actually had to study this a lot, maybe through your 4 years of college, and you had to put in extra works. I mean, I'm pretty sure that because I used to see you all the time, and you were doing something extra all the time. You were always running around getting the keys from the EMT lab, and you were running around all the time. And I used to see that all the time. So, and I believe that that extra work that you put is the same reason why people actually come ahead, and people have a trust in your studios, in your media company. That I think that is the quality of work you do, and people only see the best quality you do, but you actually had to do a lot of hard work in the last 4 to 5 years to get where you are right
Yes.
now. And I believe that hard work is actually very much underrated, and people are, I mean, just like the AV industry, I mean, people actually see only the outcome. I mean, I'm being very honest here, because I think people actually see only the industry over here. And
Yes.
people only see the what is the final product is. So there's a celebrity, and there might be celebrities, and we only see the glam life, but there was always a gloom life where they had to go through particular stuff. They had to go through rejections. I mean, going into auditions, and probably they had been kicked out. And I'm even Elon Musk. I mean, one of my people I actually look up to, because I'm very much intimidated by him, because he is actually a huge guy who actually does things so much differently than anyone else on the planet. And he actually had
Yeah.
to go through different failures to launch SpaceX, Tesla, and do all these things. I mean, it is huge to how he actually had to fight against all those things that was against him to be where he is right now. And even though I mean, you take any person, any billionaire, even this Bill Gates or Jeff Bezos or Warren Buffett or anybody, I mean, they all went through this. They actually had to go through the hard work, and they had to put in extra hours, and extra, maybe they slept for 4 hours, maybe they slept for 3 hours, maybe people might have done that, but still they had to go through all this hard
Yes.
work to get where they are. And I believe that that is the story of Dalbut. I mean, for 4 years he actually worked hard to create a studio that he never thought he would, but actually God actually had this plan and purpose for him to do that. And he actually is now running around with fully tight packed schedules with clients, with developing media softwares, and doing studio setups for different churches around India. And I'm actually so happy and proud of you, because it is actually a great thing to see you all like this, and your vision of your organization. And I think that is actually something that inspires a motivation in many of us right now. And I believe that maybe our juniors, or maybe people who are actually people who are willing to look for a career in AV industry, I believe this is going to be a great inspiration to them. And so I have this final question for you. Is there something that you want to tell to all those people who are struggling in the industry right now, and the people who are actually willing to get into this industry?
Yeah, there is something that I say, like, it's not like an advice. I'm not in a position to give an advice. I'm still experimenting so many things with my own life, with my own business, with my own vision. So be open to change. There are so many things that you can change, starting from you, your vision, how you envision yourself. And there are so many things that you might think that you are made for, but just as you said, there are things that you can do, and there are things that you are created to do. Find your purpose, find something that you're created to do. You may take like maybe a few years to find that. You may stumble around, you may start at a job, but there is something that speaks to you at your heart. People call it conscious, and we call it God's will, God's voice. But believe it, and God will actually take you to what He has designed for you. And at all the times, 100%, what God has designed for you is so much better than what you can think for yourself. So that is one thing. And for starting out in media, media is a very expensive industry, to be fair, actually. A good mic that you can buy, will cost you definitely maybe 7,000 rupees. That's $100. Just for starting out, you might need to spend that much, and there's nothing that you can do just with the mic. Then you need a decent laptop to at least record. Then you need a good quality pair of headphones or monitors to edit the audio. Then speaking of video, you at least need to invest in a good phone. So it's an expensive thing, but just as every other creator out there says, start with what you have. If you think that once I get that expensive equipment, I will start. Once I get that expensive equipment, I will improve. That's not going to happen that quick, actually. Start with what you have, and you can actually experiment. That is a God-given chance to improve yourself. The lowest of everything will actually bring the best of yourself. I have a computer that is actually not mine. It's my sister's laptop. She has lent that laptop to me, and that is how we do all our audio productions. I have a really old laptop of mine which could not even run Windows or any other good quality OS that can support a good production software like Premiere Pro or anything. So I'm running something, a really outdated looking software called KDN Live, and that is how I edit my video. So that is something that you're put into, and use that. Life and God puts you in some places to teach you some things. And the very same is very true in media. The very smallest of beginnings helps you to learn the best of lessons. So you can actually learn how exactly to bring out an emotion through a song or a small podcast or small devotion, maybe through a small video. When you start out with so little to work, you put so much of your brain into it. So that is something that can help you to propel so fast in media. So you also get to know how to do things really better, and also how to do things really cheap. So that is something that you learn along the way. That helps you to deal with all the kinds of clients. But I'd say keep a standard for yourself. Even if a client is willing to pay you just 100 rupees, 500 rupees, bring out the standard output that you can do at that price point. So that is something that will help you promote your relationship with the client. Most people, they think that advertisements can propel or enhance their business, but the main thing people buy from a company is to their relationship with the company. It's either a direct relationship or a word of mouth relationship through their friend. But people believe other people. People believe other testimonies. People believe the relationship they have with the company. So building up on that relationship is what helps you to grow more. You can be referred by a client only if you do the best work for your own client. So that is something that it will be helpful for you in media, because there are so many studios out there. Take Chennai, for example, take Coimbatore, for example. These are not the very biggest of metropolitan cities around the world, but they are like emerging cities in India, and they have easily 50, 60 studios everywhere, audio or video studios. There are so many media outlets present on YouTube, Spotify are like the very well known. There are so many like this. There's no scarcity of people waiting to listen to something, waiting to watch some video. You can just put out a video and people will watch it, but you need to start it somewhere. But I'd say start it in a good standard way that your clients will start to promote you. When you have a client who shows their video out there proudly, who is willing to feature your name at the end of their video, that is how your business develops. So do your work with whatever you have in the best way possible. I'd say that is something that I can tell to people who are just starting out.
Oh, yeah, that's actually huge. And I'm actually reminded by this particular quote I heard from Pastor Robert Madu the other day. He said like this: if you want to be changed, you need to be challenged. And
Yes.
we were in a pre-COVID situation. We were all not changed. We actually, people were looking for change, and then the COVID challenge came in, and we had to change. So we had to adapt ourselves.
Yes.
And in the same way, people who are actually listening to us right now, here listening to, you might be listening to this podcast right now, maybe months later from when this is broadcasted, maybe years later, but still, your vision has a purpose. Your vision has a purpose, and you are actually over here on this earth to do something that only you can fulfill. And it might be a AV, it might be an audio visual company, it might be anything, but you just need to start digging on it. You need to start working on, you need to start getting out of your comfort zones. And you have to do a lot of researches, and you have to do a lot of hard work. And let's just go ahead and do it. And that's how actually you can achieve what you want to do in your life. And also, thank you so much, Dalbut, for those encouraging words. I mean, all through, I mean, this is one of the most this is one of the most heated topics that most people refuse to discuss, even the audio video industry. And it is so much underrated. And the more we can tell stories about how people like you actually struggle, I mean, how you actually had to talk with clients, I mean, how to deal with things, how you guys actually made a consulting proposal so that they could actually, they could actually see the hard work that you guys are putting, and the long variety of works and the variety of things that you actually do behind to get one song that is 3 minutes. It might take at least 3 months sometimes, but it is actually something huge. And I want to tell this to all those AV people out there who might be struggling, who might be still planning to start the AV company. But look at Dalbut Pelfrey Williams. I mean, the odds were against him, but still he actually found that there is something that he needs to do. And I want to say the same to all those people out there. There is something that you can do. Just strive against all those odds, and be fruitful and just do it. So thank you so much for listening to Bellwethers podcast, and thank you so much, Dalbut Pelfrey William, for coming over here and talking about us. You can check him out in the episode description. We have put up some links to his profiles, so you can go ahead if you want to hit him up, if you want to talk to him. That's also cool. And he's actually a very cool person, and you actually can. He's a very approachable person also, and he's also a very good friend of mine. Once again, thank you so much, Dalbut, and I want to thank everybody who is
Thank you so
listening.
much, Matthew. I need to thank you for all your encouraging words. Actually, I've been listening to this podcast, the very first episode, right on. So, and even the Bellwether show you did live on Instagram, that was really, really helpful for me. So, I believe the same way this interview, this podcast will be also helpful to someone even later in life.
Yeah, definitely. That's our vision. That's my vision. That's our team's vision, to inspire people, to motivate people. So again, thank you so much, Dalbut. Thank you so much to all those people who are listening to us right now. And if you just so stay tuned, and if you really, really love these podcasts, do not forget to hit the subscribe/follow button, and make sure you stay tuned, because next week we have someone special and something different coming up. So stay tuned, and chill out.